Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Michael Robert Live. We are very happy tonight to have Heidi join us.
Hi.
Hi, Heidi.
How are you?
I'm good. We were sitting here talking, and we were thinking, there really are no coincidences.
There
in
are
life.
none.
And I'm pinching myself that the two of us are sitting here about to have this conversation.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Although, can't you always tell?
I knew from the minute I met you.
It was like, boom.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy that day.
It was.
Standing in there talking and solving all the world problems a couple of times.
I felt like I had known you.
Forever and ever.
Yeah.
So at the end, will tie the coincidence stuff all together and make it clear that you meet everyone for a reason. And
Absolutely.
even if the reason is that person just makes you smile, even if you know that person just for that smile, just be happy you had that experience just for the smile. The hardest thing for us is when we want relationships to go on further than they need to for yourself and the other person.
Yeah.
And then that's when all the problems start coming up.
That's why sometimes a smile is just enough.
Just enough.
I grew up with a poster in my room that said, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours.
Well,
and I've lived by that.
Peggy,
Yeah.
I always say to her, I don't get why all these people smile at me. And she said, are you a moron? You're smiling at them. Of course they're going to smile. But it's like unconscious. If someone, I have eye contact with someone, I smile or nod my head. I don't even know I'm doing it.
You're smiley anyhow.
Yeah, it's just like you. It's just physically portraying how you feel inside. Isn't that the point?
Yeah.
Just how do you feel inside?
Well, and if you sense somebody else doesn't feel that good, you want to give it to them.
And sometimes a smile is way more powerful than any words that you can say.
Agreed.
And it gets to the point that we always talk about. It's how you feel inside. So, Heidi.
Yes.
Talk to us about your 50th birthday.
It was amazing. My husband threw a fabulous party, lots of dancing. But I said,
You like to dance?
I love to dance. It makes me happy. It makes everybody happy.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. But I set some rules for myself when I turned 50. It was sort of a self-assessment. And
any reason why it was 50?
I think because I thought I should. It feels like a mile marker.
Right.
It just feels like you should.
Did you feel more grown up at 50? Was it emotional? Were you thinking, oh?
It was emotional, I think, for me because I thought, oh, shit, it's getting real.
Yeah. Right. That's what I figured. That's what it was.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
But I decided I was going to sort of assess my life a little bit.
I'm so psyched you're saying assess and not judge.
No. And definitely not judging. I just wanted to assess it and take stock and see how I wanted to move forward. And one of the things I came up with a phrase, don't yuck my yum. And I decided I wake up yummy every morning, pretty much every morning. I mean, I have a bad morning every so often, but for the most part, I feel pretty good when I wake up in the morning. And I realized I was letting too many people in my circle to mess up my yum.
Well, we'll do the opposite of mess up your yum. Lindsay Stevens says, "You look gorgeous, Mom."
Oh.
Thank you, Lindsay Stevens. Way to go, kid. But yeah, I just decided I wasn't gonna let anybody. I was gonna create a. I haven't been in the past in my life. I haven't been very assertive in protecting my circle, and I'm in a job where a lot of people take a piece of me, and I let them. And I realized it's up to me to protect my circle. So
How good
I-
did that feel?
empowering, so empowering, liberating. Yeah, it was great. So my new term is "don't yuck my yum," because if you yuck my yum,
You're not in the circle.
you're not in the circle. And my circle is so beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Like Lindsay said, you can tell.
Yeah, I love it. I'm so blessed. Yeah.
And do you start each day feeling that gratitude? Even, let me ask you, on the days that you don't feel as yummy as you usually do, what is it that brings you back?
First of all, I give myself permission to wallow in it.
Right.
I give myself a day.
So you're not judging yourself.
No. I fully take it on. I feel sorry for myself. I wallow in it. But I have a start and a finish to that time.
How awesome is that?
Yeah, by 5 o'clock, it's done.
No matter what.
No, because I won't allow myself to go to sleep with that feeling.
Right. There you go.
So I take something from the day that I can be thankful for, and that's how I go to sleep. And that's done. I got it all out of me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So was this post 50? Or did you kind of do that?
No, I did that at 50. Like, I just kind of figured out how I can protect myself but still give.
Wow. Setting boundaries in the most positive way.
I think in some way I always wanted to do it,
Right.
but for some reason 50 felt empowering.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was great.
Don't yuck my yum. Everyone remember that.
I think I should get t-shirts.
You should have t-shirts. and then we'll tell people your business, but you should have a huge sign up
I should.
behind your area there that says "Don't yuck my
You're
yum."
right. Why haven't I done that?
You really, I think that would be
I'm going to do it tomorrow.
incredible. Awesome.
Yeah, it's it's such a simple thing, but it is really empowering. It's up to you to hold on to that yumminess.
We all have to come up with our phrase
Mm-hmm.
about not yucking our yum.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, and making it yours is the most important. Just when you say it, I can feel it from you, like you're not fooling around. You really live that.
Oh, I do.
Which is
I do.
Which is awesome.
Well, because it's like poison coming in. I look at like my kids, for instance. I have the most yummy kids. And for me to let somebody or something come in when I'm spending time with them that's going to yuck it all up, I try very hard to not have that happen. And my husband, I don't get a lot of time with these people that I love more than anything. I don't want anything to cloud that time.
I love I. That's living I love I.
Yeah.
Where you feel it for yourself enough that you can project it out and make sure that your circle reflects that.
Yeah.
I don't know why we cling and hang on to these beliefs that hurt. They hurt. But we're afraid to let them go.
Yeah. I think that's part of the superpower. Cape.
So tell everyone about that.
Well, my theory in life, and it took me a while to figure this out. Life is filled with awful experiences. They give us the barometer to know how good is. But they should not be missed because the best presents are in those ugly packages. And if you dismiss them or feel sorry for yourself, you don't unwrap them to take the gift out of them. And for me, I'm a recovering alcoholic. That's one of my greatest gifts. Getting through that and being on the other side has enriched my life more than I can't describe how much it has. It's given me a different empathy. It's made me filled with gratitude.
What got you started on that path to end the drinking?
I think it was because too many things happened where I couldn't deny it anymore. I'm telling everybody this. I got arrested for grand theft auto. I drove the wrong car home. Which is pretty funny since I can laugh about it.
Tell us that story.
I was living in Lake Placid, New York, and I was very disciplined with my drinking. Never drank while I was working. And there was a woman who had she had a bar, and she would let all the restaurant people come to her bar after hours to party. So, of course, who was I to miss that? Sign me up. So I went, and I went home when I had had enough. And at about 5 o'clock in the morning, there was a pounding at the door. And I ran down to the door and I opened it, and there was a police officer there. And I said, "Officer, how can I help you?" And he said, "Is that your car?" And I looked at the driveway and I was horrified that it wasn't my car. And I started getting very scared. And I quickly started realizing that I had drove the wrong car home.
Yeah, I'm sure that made you sober up really quickly.
Very quickly. And also made me realize that, who is this person? I had no idea who I was. I'm a good girl. I don't do things like this. Right. I got handcuffed and brought to the station. Fortunately, when I got there, the woman whose car I had stolen was there. She ended up being the one who owned the bar and saw me there. And she said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I drove the wrong car home." And she started hysterically laughing and said, "You drove my car home." Fortunately, she dropped the charges and all was good. But it was my wake-up call.
Was the police officer thinking you, like, did you say you made a mistake?
I did.
You didn't know how that happened?
I did. He wanted her to press charges. But for some reason, and I think I walked away thinking, who are you? You're so lucky. And there were things that sort of echoed in the back of my head that I had a problem as well. But that was definitely the turning point.
So being totally honest with yourself empowered you to start your journey.
Yeah, it's funny. Some people would call me a dry drunk because I never did a program. I choose not to believe that because, again, I don't yuck other people's yums who have done.
But isn't that just a label?
Yeah, I agree. I found my path. It worked for me. I have sort of my own thing I do. And it worked.
So you created your own program that got you past what for so many people is an insurmountable obstacle.
Yeah. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Did you feel totally out of control?
I
How would you describe
No,
it?
I didn't feel out of control. I felt like control was there, but it was mine to pass up or take.
Oh, so you could at least see the choice.
Well, I went to a very dark, bad place, but yes, I eventually saw you have two choices: check out or check in.
Right.
And I chose to check in.
So in every moment of your life now,
Hmm.
because we tell people this all the time, you have a choice in every moment.
You always have a choice.
But like we were talking before the show started, so many of us are programmed to feel like the victim
Yeah,
and not
that's poison.
that's the real poison, because when you feel like the victim, you don't feel like you have a choice in every moment.
Right. So the ugly package gives you a piece to your super cape, your superpower.
And yours is probably a Scalamandre version.
It is. Fortuny, please.
Oh, excuse me, Fortuny. So tell everyone the business you started.
So I am an interior designer and antique dealer, and I absolutely love what I do. The only thing I don't like is working every weekend.
Yeah, that would be tough.
It wasn't tough until my kids were working a regular job, and now
Right.
they've only got weekends. So I'm changing that a little bit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And your shop reflects that. Of all the antique stores that we've been in, I mean, we just love your stuff.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
I
In fact, the chairs that we're sitting on come from your store.
They do.
If you remember.
I do remember. I think the store has also restored my faith. We have so many people, so many people that come in there. And especially in the the COVID times and everything, and um it's been a negative atmosphere lately. But when I go into that store, we have so many great people like yourself, but it makes me really happy, and it restores my faith in humankind.
But you feel that the minute you walk in. Even if you're not talking to me, I hear your voice in there, and the vibration is so upbeat, even if you're not talking about an upbeat subject.
There's an
Like,
energy.
there's an
isn't there?
energy. It's not like, oh, everything's wonderful. Ah. No, there's this genuine passion that like you just emanate while you're there.
But I feel it when I'm in there.
But now I get it. Don't yuck my yummy.
Don't yuck my
That
yum.
has you really have
That's
to
one of
do
the
that.
more creative ones I've heard.
That has to be up tomorrow. That would
I'm gonna get that done.
So was this just a natural thing for you? Were you fearful when you started it? Like, how did it all start?
I've started a lot of businesses, and I've never had fear, only excitement. I know I won't fail. I'll pivot till I make it. Pivot till I make it.
Pivot till you make it.
You have to, because odds are when you first start, you're not going to make it.
No, I think that it's 5% that make it. But the thing, and this is my thing. I don't know if it'll work for everyone, but I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is they do a business plan, which I did a business plan. Throw it out as soon as the business opens. Because if you try to stick to the plan, you're not listening to the business.
It's like everything else.
Yeah.
Your job is not to come up with the solution. Your job is to be open enough and really be listening.
Correct.
Every single person that walks through your door potentially can help your business to grow or not grow.
Absolutely.
And my grandfather My little 5'3" immigrant Italian grandfather always said to me, in fact, we dedicated our foundation to him. You have 2 of these and 1 of these. So you need to be listening twice as much as you're speaking.
You know, everybody always says to me,
You're such a good
What-
listener.
what are sales? How can you be good at sales?
In the sense of closing sales or marketing or
All
All of it.
the above. It's one thing. It's listening
You got to be a really good listener.
and internalize it. Don't just listen for the sake of listening. You have to really hear it. I think in my business, I notice most antique stores close at a certain point because they've gotten to be antiques themselves. And I think it's really important, and especially in my business, not to become the antique. You have to pivot constantly because design trends are changing, what people are looking for in antiques. And my goal was always to get younger people to like antiques. But you have to juxtapose it. You have to take it out of the setting of their grandmother's house or something. But you have to keep changing.
when did you pivot to online? Because I know that's
4 years ago.
so you were ahead
which,
of that.
Thank God it
Yeah.
saved our lives during COVID. I had one of those gut feelings. Things were definitely trending online. And I hired a great woman to get us started. And now I have a great woman taking us to the next level. And it's
Pivot,
the way
pivot,
it's going.
pivot,
Pivot. That's what life is. You always have to pivot.
I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, does that sound familiar?
Raising kids, pivot. Don't keep them a child. Pivot with them into adults, like we were talking about.
Like we were talking about. Yes, they are your children. They'll always be your children. You'll always have that parental instinct. But you also need to look at yourself and say, well, I can't be childlike either in my relationship with my child.
I'm not so good at that.
And right before we move on to this topic, if anyone has any questions about a business idea or their business that they would like to ask Michael or Heidi, please feel free to call in. The number is up on the screen and you'll be live on the show. So I'll leave it there for just another second and you guys can go back to talking about what you were talking about.
I was told at a very young age, most people you see who are in business, their business plan looked 0% like their existing business.
It's true.
And there's example after example of people start out and it just morphs into this other business. And this person said to me, your job is to be the best tweaker in the world. It's like
Absolutely.
same thing as pivot. Just keep tweaking it and tweaking it. Know your market, know your customer, and tell your ego to stay home. It doesn't matter if you projected, oh, this is where the market's going or this is what it needs to. Don't hold on to it.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
That's honestly the dumbest thing you can do.
The dumbest thing. I guarantee you
Because-
won't make it.
Yeah, I guess part of it is EQ. You know, you have to have that
EQ?
EQ, emotional quotient. You know, you have to not be so intellectual all the time. You have to feel it. You have to feel what's going on. You have to dig into that.
All of the greatest money managers who are not one-hit wonders, who are pivoting for 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
they all say the same thing. I do all the research, I do all the due diligence, but the bottom line is every time I go with my gut, I'm right.
It's true.
Every time I don't listen to my intuition or my gut, I'm wrong.
Well, because there's surprises along the way
Always.
that you can't forecast and you don't know they're going to happen. And those surprises are really important to getting to the next space. It's like doing a room. When I go in to design a room, it talks to you as it goes. And if you don't listen to it, you end up with a cookie cutter design. So if you don't listen to what your clients want, if you don't feel what moves them, you just do the same thing in every house. But a house is their Shangri-La. It should be what makes them feel good and what moves them. It's your job to translate how it looks cohesively.
And tell the story of the person
Right,
who lives there.
right,
Or you're going into a staged
right.
house. Who wants to live in a staged house?
Unfortunately, it's funny. I think my daughter said this to me. I noticed that a lot of her friends were shopping with us, and she said, "Well, it's mom. We did my apartment in Boston, and people are coming in, and they're like, oh my gosh, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that?" But I realized a lot of these kids are growing up in homogenized towns, and then they move into their apartments, and where do they go? Pottery Barn, IKEA. So their apartments become homogenized. So when they go into some house that has a little uniqueness to it and personality, they're starved for that, but they don't know it.
And if you can't feel that in your own space,
Sad.
where do you get the support to go out into the world and be your best?
And you're a unique person.
And you're unique. It's not about fitting in. It's about being you.
Because that's the icing on the cake.
Right? And if you do anything that isn't truly what you feel about yourself, because you also meet those other people who just do things to try and be different
Right,
and get attention.
right.
That's the other end of the spectrum that is not
Or-
helpful either or in that person's best interest. But to really be comfortable
Yeah.
in yourself, everyone feels it. And I think so much of that, especially if you adhere to feng shui, is creating your environment that's very supportive and empowering.
Right.
Even if it's a one-room apartment in the middle of some super crazy city, if that's you and that can be your recharging station,
Right.
but it's got to look like you.
And everything, especially if it's a one room, everything in it has to feed you, has to feed your soul.
Exactly.
It can't be sort of for naught.
Well, that's your place of peace if you're in the middle of a crazy city, but also keeping it neat.
I think that's why we were so busy during COVID. Because people they were inside, they were stuck inside, and they started looking at the insides of their homes, and they were like, "Oh, this doesn't feed me."
Speaking of feeding, so I grew up in a family that holidays, after the fabulous meals were done, we would sit down, everyone would have dessert, and then the looks would start. My mom would start looking around, and you knew within 5 minutes we'd all be up, moving furniture, changing pictures on the walls, and that it just became a pattern.
Oh, I love that.
Whoever house we were at would
Just redecorate it.
would get a redo every holiday, depending upon which house that was at.
I love that.
And, just like being with your family, eating delicious food, that fed your soul too, because sometimes it was just one picture or one piece of furniture that really fed your soul, like
Right.
all that other
And you wanted to
stuff,
bring that to the forefront.
and then leave it there
Yeah,
after everyone would leave.
I love that.
But when we would have guests, they would totally crack up and say, wait a minute, do you guys do this?
What are they doing?
You guys do this all the time? And for me, it was just natural.
It's tradition.
It became tradition. But I love when I could see the look. It wouldn't just be in my mom, my sisters, or whatever.
Right.
Or the other crazy thing would be I would have relatives come over who'd just been shopping, and it would be like a fashion show and telling the deal that they got with the clothing.
Oh, a deal is so good.
Oh my,
Brag about a deal.
oh
is
my
the best.
God.
My husband always says to me, "Why do you say how much you paid for something?" I'm like, "Because I'm so proud."
Exactly. And a lot of my friends were from Boston, and they said, well, I never had a relative come over to my house when they bought some clothes and started doing a fashion show and say, and you'll never believe what I paid. What is that? Is that a Rhode Island thing? Is it your family thing?
Feeds your soul.
It does.
Yeah.
And again, if it's genuine, everyone would light up, and it's part of the connecting and being together, but like on a real basis, not forcing something.
Yeah.
So,
It doesn't have to be like anything of huge substance.
no, or
It's-
deep.
No.
It just, when everybody's like, being real,
Yeah.
you can just feel it. And when you leave, you feel that recharge to yourself.
Yeah.
Or laughter. To me, laughter is,
Medicine.
we named the farm
I know.
Laughing Hummingbird Farm because we believe laughter is one of the key components to healing.
Oh, it is. And living longer, everything.
The whole,
You have to find your joy.
why don't so many people feel they're worthy of that joy? Or what I see, they're fearful of it. They're like fearful of sustained happiness. They go with the preconceived notion this will never last. And this is an anomaly.
They feel like they don't deserve it.
They don't.
It's a victim thing again.
Goes right back.
Circles right back. I mean, I think, being a victim is almost addictive.
Drama. Yes.
Yeah. It's like it starts feeding you in some way, but you have to find a way to axe that.
So one way is to know you're born and your birthright is to be happy.
Absolutely.
And that life's a gift. And like Heidi was saying, even if some of those gifts are wrapped in ugly wrappers, it's still a gift.
It
And
is.
when you can wake up every morning and really feel the abundance of your life, even when you're in the worst place, even when you're going through what you believe could be the worst time in your life, if you could just change your perspective just a little bit and know.
You saying that reminds me, I think part of true happiness is kindness
To who first? To whom first?
to yourself first,
Right.
because you can't give it if you don't have it.
Exactly.
But once you find that kindness that you give to yourself, it bubbles over and you want to give it to somebody else. You have to give it to somebody else. And then that's contagious. I mean, that other people feed off of it. They feel it. They want to do something.
But that's the natural state.
yeah,
Being a victim is not the natural state. That's the abundance that exists. Being a victim is the scarcity that's
right.
not real. But because of these crazy beliefs that we're programmed with our whole life, the drama and the victimhood feels more real
Yeah,
than
than the other.
truth or love. But once you start in every moment, it takes practice
It does.
to choose your truth or to choose what is genuine without judging yourself. That's the road to finding your kindness. That's the road that you can easily take from this moment on, knowing
Yeah,
you have a choice in every moment. Don't judge yourself. Just do what feels good and comfortable for you. And then all of a sudden, your kindness will show up and your phrase, "don't yuck my yummy," will just come out. I'm thinking.
well, and don't accept anything else. Don't accept anything else. Know that you deserve that and take it.
For real.
Yeah.
And especially if you want to start a business, get into a personal relationship,
Right.
advance in your career. This all happens from the same place. Your choice in every moment.
Absolutely.
And if you can bring it back just to that for yourself, you're right, that circle becomes amazing, and it's filled not with people who like you, people who genuinely celebrate you.
Yeah.
And my definition of celebrating you is to be totally happy for all your successes and not feel any envy or jealousy for you, but
cheering you on.
Just being there. And
Yeah.
that's who comes into your circle when you can find your own kindness to yourself. I love I.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, you smile a lot,
Bubbles and fuzzy white bunnies.
but not fake. Oh God, I saw you in those bunny slippers when you said that. Dancing around the house.
My husband says it looks like I have rats. Oh God.
So tell me, what's one of your most amazing stories and we haven't, Heidi's business is Ray Antiques in Wickford, Rhode Island. And Julius will make sure at the end of the show there is the website and
Not at the end of the show. If you would like to go and visit the Ray Antique website, it is in the description of this video. So it's right there.
Thank you.
No problem.
amazing stuff.
It's fun.
So tell me, what are some stories or amazing experiences or like, let's start with the wackiest one you've ever had in the store or anywhere, actually.
I've had so many. When you're involved with a lot of the general public, I think
No
anything
limits.
can happen.
No limits.
But probably my wackiest. It's funny because I for a long time I managed restaurants, and you would think crazy things would happen
Right.
in restaurants, but no. In a little antique shop in Rhode Island, I one day was working and a car pulled up, but almost pulled through the entire store.
Oh my.
And the woman walked in, and I could definitely tell she was not of sound mind. I've been in those dark places. I know. So she came in. I decided I was going to try and talk her into getting someone else to drive her home. First of all, that was my biggest concern, that she was driving. So I told her we'd have a coffee and sit down and talk. It was a Patriot Sunday. So on Patriot Sunday, nobody's in the store. They're all watching the Patriots. It's usually my catch-up day. And she came in. I told her I was going to turn on my Keurig machine, got her a glass of water. Anyhow, to make a long story short, she ended up biting me. And not,
Literally?
yeah, literally.
Wait a
Was
minute,
it
wait
the
a minute, wait a
coffee or
minute.
the
That's
water?
a big shortener.
Yeah.
How did she end up biting you?
Because I was trying to,
Was she mad? Was she like, I'm going to bite you?
none of it made that much sense. She just got mad because I gave her a glass of water. That was it.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
And she came after me in a physical way. And I happened to get close enough to her that I could push her down into a chair, soft chair that was there. And I had worked at I had worked with juvenile delinquent boys way back when. And I had remembered some of my restraining things. So I put my arm across her shoulder to restrain her, had my phone in my front pocket, thought I'd call the police. And when I did that, she bit my arm and clenched on and wouldn't let go. It was the whole thing was really sad. I mean, I can laugh about it now, but I was sad for her. And
what was?
it took many police officers. I think there were 6 or 7 to get her out and off of me. I did end up in the hospital with a staph infection.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was I did reach out to her though on Facebook and I said, "Look, no judgment here. I'm not going to press charges. You have enough charges from the police officers. And I hope you feel welcome here. We all have dark, bad places we've been in." I never heard from her, but I hope she's doing all right.
And was she troubled? Did she have an addiction, or what caused this behavior,
I
or
don't
just
know. She was
mental illness?
She was on something when she was there.
Oh.
I think there was a toxology report done and they found out something. But I don't know the whole story, but she was definitely very sad that day. And I don't know. We all have a story. And yeah, just was it made for an exciting day.
Oh my God.
So that was my oddest day at the store.
What
You're
was?
speechless.
Huh?
You're speechless.
I am, because of all the things I thought you could bring up, I would never imagine someone biting you because you gave them a glass of water, or for any reason.
Yeah, I
that
don't.
matter.
That probably wasn't the reason, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, no, it.
Yeah.
So, can you remember a funny instance?
Oh, we have funny things in there every day. I mean, people are characters, and that's part of the thing I love the most. I do love people.
I am amazed when I'm walking around in there, how many customers talk to me
Yeah.
when I'm in there, or talk to Peggy.
Oh,
mean-
I try to do that. If people aren't talking, I try to introduce them so they do talk, because we're not talking to people.
Exactly.
I mean, we're losing empathy, we're losing connections, we're losing all this. So if they can connect in my store, it makes me feel so good.
And you just crack up with the comments. They have no idea who we are, and they're like brutally honest
Yeah.
with.
We did have a man come in with no pants on. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. I wasn't there, and I said to one of my staff, she said he was just so comfortable walking around spinning his keys on his finger. And I said, well, of course he's spinning his keys on his finger. He had nowhere to, he didn't have a pocket to put them in.
So, did he have boxes on, underwear?
Silk.
Oh,
Yeah. And apparently he went to all the antique shows or stores in town.
and did he say anything to anyone?
Nope.
Oh,
Just a nice stroll.
I'll never look at your shop the same again when I drive by.
If
Wow.
you go, when you go, picture man with trousers walking through the aisles right in front of you.
Exactly.
Wow. So, here you are. What's the one thing you would say to anyone if they're about to embark on a new business, a new career, relationship? What is your message to them?
Don't be afraid. Believe in yourself and go for it. But go big or go home. I mean, I think you have to fully commit and go for it or don't do it. And if you don't have that belief in you and you don't have that drive in you, wait till you do.
So you have to find the kindness
Yeah, definitely.
really before
Yeah.
you start. It's not about telling yourself, I really believe in this. If you're telling yourself
If you
that,
don't feel it,
if you're not,
doesn't
then
matter.
you're not feeling it. So you got to find your kindness.
You have to find your kindness.
Have you found your kindness? So from this show going forward, don't judge. Know you have a choice in every moment. And when you find that kindness and you really feel comfortable and know yourself, then go for it 1,000%.
And most of all, don't judge yourself. Take all that judgment and make it your superpower. I mean, we all make mistakes. Those are gifts.
Always.
Grab it.
Okay. Okay, we'll take your comments.
All right. So, the first one is, yeah, buddy, go big or go home. That's the first one. From Lexi Boom 71. Or Alexandra, we know who she is. And another one. Heidi, you are lovely and I love your lack of judgment towards a person. The woman was confused and asking for love, and that seems to be your perspective. You saw her through the eyes of kindness. And the same person that made
Oh,
the
wonderful.
We need to see everybody that way.
Right. And I'm
I
so
mean-
glad that person could see it.
and
Empathy.
someone in the
Empathy.
someone in the audience asks, "Have you found the kindness for yourself?"
I have.
Would you tell someone how you came to find that kindness?
I think you have to take quite a few steps back from yourself. It's almost like looking at yourself from, way over here. Like you're somebody else.
You're in the audience, you're not on the stage.
Because what I realized for a long time, I was giving everybody else a pass. I was seeing the good in everybody else, and I wasn't seeing it in myself. And why was I being so hard on myself, but giving everybody else a pass and saying, not judging other people, but saying everybody makes mistakes. It's okay. Searching for finding something good in everyone. But I wasn't doing it for myself. I was berating myself. I was shaming myself. I was
Why?
judging myself. You know what I think? It's you have to change the narrative. Rhetoric tells you you're an alcoholic, you're a bad person.
This excellent question was actually pointed at the audience that the person in the audience asked. But anyway, go ahead. Keep answering it.
I just think that I really think that realizing that mistakes and bad things are the greatest gift. And allowing myself to realize that and allowing myself to know it, like embrace them, bring on those mistakes.
So you gave yourself the space
Mm-hmm.
by stepping back to take that perspective on
That I
life
gave everyone else.
that you were giving everyone else.
Yeah.
But what's key in what you're saying, and it's so difficult, but it doesn't have to be, is to simply step back. In every moment when you're making a choice, if you're feeling fearful or judgmental, literally, physically step away,
Well,
disengage.
we're lucky we live in a state where the ocean is. The ocean for me is fuel. It helps me put everything in perspective. I think you could probably do the same in the mountains or the forest or whatever.
Where it
but
is for you.
Right. When I drive and I park my car, I do this often when I'm having a bad day or I need perspective. When you look out at the ocean, it is so vast. And when we have problems in our own lives, they can feel huge. They can feel enormous. They can take over everything. But when you look at the ocean, you gain perspective and you realize we are so insignificant. We are like a pimple on a flake.
It's comical.
I look at the stars.
Right. Same thing.
So when I started my business in 1983 down in Philadelphia, I lived in Society Hill, which is the most historic square mile
Yeah.
in the country. It's where Ben Franklin lived, Betsy Ross. It's where the Independence Hall is.
Underrated city.
Underrated. I lived there for 20 years.
I was born there.
Oh, and every time I drove by the Liberty Bell in Independence Hall, I thought, look at these guys. They took on the superpower of the world
Yeah.
at the time and won. And I can't get this business off the ground. Oh, what are you kidding me?
Great way to gain perspective.
Exactly. So from that, I thought, and that's when just tweak it. Within days of the first time I felt that,
Yeah.
I was told about just tweak it, tweak it, tweak it. And to this day, when I see that building, I still feel that empowerment, thinking, oh my God, look what those Patriots did.
Yeah. It's energizing, especially when
like-
you get it.
Like,
Yeah.
really? Get a life. It's some stupid little business you're trying to kick off.
Right. It's not the Declaration of Independence.
Exactly. I wasn't writing We the People. I just needed to wholesale investments. But it's those things that snap you into a slightly different perspective where I'm not choosing my drama.
Right. Right.
I'm choosing truth.
Well, it's back to you saying it's all about choices. You're choosing your narrative, you're choosing the rhetoric, you're choosing the whole tone of it. It's taking control.
I've told this story before. I'm going to interview to be a wholesaler, and you'll love this. I got a new suit. My parents gave me my first Bally briefcase. I got on the train to go down to New York, and I don't know why a train made me feel more like an adult than flying in a plane.
Business is
Yeah,
done on
I
the train.
guess. I don't know. And it was to New York, and it was at the Yale Club, and I walk in, and there's this gentleman sitting, which looks like a TV set, big oak desk, all the oak bookcases. He doesn't say hello to me, and he's sitting, and he says, "You're too short to be a wholesaler." So I went from feeling like my superhero self to maybe this big.
Yeah, we're not the tallest people to start with anyway, but
And I
But you can
started,
change that.
so I was laughing. Do you know what he said? He said, "No, I'm serious. What makes you think you could have any presence in a room?" Well, I said, "This interview is over." And I'm thinking, over? It never started. And I walked out because I was fighting back tears and emotion
Yeah.
that I allowed this person in a split second to tell me something I knew was absolutely not true.
And you digested it and took
And
it.
I took that, getting back to what you were saying about the victim thing and letting yourself believe in things that just are not real.
And that was your choice. That was right then and there your choice.
Exactly. I could have I chose my drama. If I had chosen my truth, I would have sat down and said, "Yo, buddy, why don't you stand up? How tall are you?"
Yeah.
He was shorter than I am.
Get out.
That's why I told you he was sitting down. I couldn't see it. 5 years later, I was #1 in the country. And I went to see
I love that.
and I went to see him. But I went to thank him because in part, the whole way home on that train, I said, "I will never choose my drama." I couldn't use those words, but
Yeah.
back then, but I said, "I will never choose my drama." And you know what? I know that guy's full of baloney.
See, those are the points in life that are the pivots. You could have gone either way on that.
Right. I could have gone home and said,
Wallowed
Well,
in it, been a
"Well,
victim.
you
I'm
know,
short.
maybe I'm short." And
people will come up with a million excuses for themselves before they think, "Oh yeah, maybe I can do that." If the first words coming out of your mouth is "I can't do that and I
Right.
never will," it's not true most likely.
You know why that is, though? It's easier.
if you don't get in the game, you can't lose.
Yeah, so it's a way of self-protecting.
Our ability to self-rationalize is infinite.
Yeah.
We can rationalize.
So true.
We can rationalize anything away. We can put the ultimate flawless spin
Right.
on anything when it comes to ourselves.
Right.
But who are you kidding? You're kidding yourself. You're fooling yourself.
And shortchanging yourself from success, joy. I mean, there's so much.
I'm thinking now I should have sat down in that chair and
You
said,
want to go back.
no problem. I'll just carry a stool with me. And I'll stand on that
Get lifts in my shoes.
like Ricky.
Yes.
And I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Look, he was short.
You're very short.
Shorter than Lucy, and those two created an empire.
Magic.
Those two made history.
They did.
History.
We're still talking about them.
Look, we're still talking about them. Heidi, we could talk all night, but
I love you.
I love you too. And we knew that from the first day
We did.
we all met.
We did.
And, you know, Peggy doesn't like a lot of people.
And I
But
loved
she-
her too.
Right. And she loved you. Oh, my God. So thank you. Thank you so much
Thank you for having
for
me.
coming.
It was really
It
nice.
was awesome. Thank you. And thank all of you for tuning in. And we will see you on Sunday night, which is Mother's Day.
Yay.
So have a great rest of the week. And we look forward to seeing you back here on Sunday.
Be kind.
Take care, everyone. And thank you.